Before we start tonight's service, we want to show you our premium ingredient you enjoy. Here we have fresh Hokkaido oni coming from Japan, and 2 types of caviar consisting of dried crystal, both coming from France. And alongside we have clean leaf abalone coming from Australia. And tonight's highlight are Frankie, a live Northern king crab that will be finished on the top of kerantin or steamed egg.
Oh wow.
Moving on to our steak preparation over here, we have tenderloin and ribeye, both coming from South Queensland in Australia. We dry age them under Kojian noodle, which is fermentation starter for making sake or soju. We dry age our meat 7 to 10 days for the tenderloin and 21 to 28 days for the ribeye. And over here, we have our A5 kalbi coming from Saitama Prefecture in Japan.
Okay.
We marinate them for several hours in house and serve them over seasoned rice with hickory smoked golden trout.
Okay.
Everything you see over here will be included in tonight's menu.
Thank you so much.
So no hammer.
Is Mr. Benoit Dehu's Initiation. He's a really excellent and quite famous winemaker, as he worked for about 12 years at Boulanger. Took that experience home to his village of Fossois in the Marne department, where he has an incredibly small 1.8 hectares that are planted exclusively to Pinot Meunier, while it counts the 3rd place grape in Champagne, sometimes garnering an unnecessary reputation as flabby or overly fruited. He makes very linear and direct and delicious wines. So here we have a really bright expression of Pinot Meunier, showcasing bright acid for the rich elements of our first course, but also a nice fruity backbone for the saltier bits you're going to find on top of some of the bites.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
So over here we have our first bite. Starting from the top, we have Kamte crisp, which is a type of seaweed that's shaped into pasta shape. It's filled with bluefin tuna and horse-belly foie gras and garnished with Korean pear, sisal leaves, and flowers. Over here we have our besu, which is Korean poached pear that's filled with risotto filling and day puree, and topped with ossetra caviar with sweet olives and flowers. At the very bottom will be our keran, or egg, Korean egg salad that's filled with green apple salad and fujule, and garnished with smoked golden trout roll with coriander blossoms and leaves. And we recommend you starting from the top and moving all the way to the bottom.
So this way, right?
This tissue over here will be scented with lemon and ginger tea, so please.
Like a soup.
Alright.
Oh my god.
Here we're going to be enjoying our pyeongchang, which in Korean refers to lightly sliced and lightly seared wagyu tenderloin. It's going to be dressed with chives and black truffle. Served over some soup somyeon, bubble noodles dressed in chujang, and then finished off with the chilled cucumber from rice soup and banchan. A little bit of a lighter ending. Now, we do recommend enjoying a slice of beef before mixing the whole dish all together. Alright, enjoy.
Thank you. Oh. So it's like. Ooh.
Earlier, but we offer a much more substantial portion on our abalone mirepoix, which will be our final seafood course tonight. There's a really nice textural and temperature contrast to the abalone itself. It also has this really toothsome, clean salinity that cuts through the hardiness of the broth. It's a very beautiful balance. We have black Perigord truffles in from France. These we offer shaved fresh in the final steak course, which will be the dry-aged ribeye. It brings out sort of the nuttiness that we get from that Nodokan Koji aging that they showed you, that sort of whole grain aromatic. And then for a completely different textural experience to any other steak that we have our A5 Wagyu strip loin from the Miyazaki Prefecture in Japan. Miyazaki is very, very famous for producing A5 grade Wagyu because it is, yes, A5 levels of decadent, but also elegant and soft on the palate, more in that buttery down. I think that how complex and intricate the marbling pattern is here. This one we grill tableside alongside the banchan setting, which will be our final savory course tonight. It's a rice soup and banchan collection that's a little bit of a lighter ending, and this adds a nice customizability there as well. All of these come up later. I'll sort of check in as they're approaching, so if you're interested, no need to decide right away.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our Jurassic period of prehistory is actually named after these mountains. Its name coming from the fact that it's covered in forest. It's an old French word for forest. We go to Cilliers Saint-Benoît, an incredibly small production house, only 580.
Our king crab first and our king crab is sourced live every single day from Norway.
Oh.
They are gently blanched and finished in a rich anchovy broth with shimeji and bamboo shoots. And the crab and broth mixture is through keranji, which is Korean style of soft steamed egg. The dish is served in layers, so we recommend you using your spoon provided split from the bottom and enjoying all the components in every single dish.
Thank you.
Or Spetmugunda in the local parlance. This comes to us from J.B. Becker, probably the region's most famous producer. Named for its founder Jean-Baptiste, it's currently run by his grandson Hans Josef. Don't imagine.
To see.
First this evening is tenderloin. We are featuring tenderloin from South Queensland, Australia, out of Morton Coast Phoenix program. Now, I believe the tongues we just received are a little bit smaller than normal, so I'm going to make sure you are fully covered here with a little bit extra.
Oh, thank you.
Of course. Now, all of the steaks you see here went through around 20 days of wet aging.
Wet aging?
Yes. So for us, that means we vacuum seal them, and all of the naturally occurring enzymes start to denature the proteins over time. So it doesn't add any additional flavor. It's just about texture. It creates a much more tender and buttery cut of steak, which we are highlighting here with Hokkaido uni.
Wow.
Bit of perla chimichurri.
Did you see that spin?
Now the slice on your right, after wet aging, went through an additional 7 to 10 days of dry aging under a coating of nurok and koji, which are fermentation starters associated with Korean soda like soju or chungju, but also Japanese sake. They speed up the dry aging process, but also add a very, very signature nutty flavor, which we're highlighting with crystal caviar. So recommend going from the left to the right, and then enjoying our tagaji in between and after as a palate cleanser. This will be soy pickled salted.
Oh,
Enjoy.
thank you. Left to light. Look at this color. Very juicy.
We want to see and try for our Christmas. We want to wait you before.
Correct. Might be October or
So this is John Paul Cameron's Abbey Ridge Pinot Noir in the Dundee Hills appellation of Oregon's Willamette Valley. That is the highest elevation vines of Pinot Noir in the entire state of Oregon. Mr. Cameron, kind of the story here, is he's a very interesting guy. Now, he is a former marine biochemist. Now, that's not that uncommon. Many winemakers have scientific backgrounds because they are, after all, sort of chemists. But he has a very interesting way that he acquired many of his vines, that he stole them from Burgundy in France. He took a trip, and under the cover of night with a pair of pliers, he cut clones from Dijon and Pommard, brought them back on the plane, and then planted them into his own vines so he could increase the biodiversity of his vineyard. So it's a really funny story of sort of vigilante science. Now, while the clones may be from Burgundy, the wine is unmistakably New World in its nature. Really bright, effusive red fruit, candied aromas. It's very key, as our Kobe that comes next has semi-sweet marinade. So we really love the complement of this really rich, fruity expression of Pinot with that sweeter marinated beef. Enjoy.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Of course.
Yeah.
Got it?
This is our Korean galbi referred to A5. We serve seasoned rice, aged kimchi, and black truffle vinaigrette. Garnished with smoked pork truffle, frizzled lamb, wasabi, and kimchi. And the side dish is daba kimchi. It's lightly fermented radish kimchi, so you can drink it before and after.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Give you guys a little showcase of our last savory course this evening.
Okay.
This is our black trumpet sopa.
Oh, nice.
A little bit about it, how we cook it. We use gawanji rice that's cooked in minced garlic, butter, and sesame oil. And This will be coming with the last savory course of Hansan Chari.
Thank you.
Translate that.
한상 차림.
What is it?
From the 2022 vintage. Comes to us from two twins who are originally from Belgium. They were raised in Madagascar and then they settled in western France in the Loire Valley to become natural winemakers. Gondwana pays homage to the western half of the breakoff of the Pangea supercontinent. It was the one that contained all of Europe.
And red cap, which will be that smaller piece a little bit closer to you. These were dry aged under that same nurokin koji coating as the tenderloin, but for a full 3-week cycle, so much more dramatically inoculated. This is paired with a pinch of orange sweet potato and a puree of shigun chimuchin, seasoned sesame, spinach. And on top we have lightly fried kale, and on the side our kokchiri, our fresh kimchi. We are using cauliflower, makoto almonds, and finger lime. Enjoy.
Thank you.
This puree is so good.
Yeah, you already tasted.
Puree.
Company in the world by all accounts. Slightly more inclined with aesthetics. It's actually based in Berlin. And this is called their number 3. It is their largest bowl and it's meant specifically for full-bodied red wines. Now, normally it would be for a very high alcohol red wine in order to allow all of the aromatic particles to reach your nose before alcohol reduction. In this case, we're just using it as sort of the showstopper wine in the evening. Actually quite low alcohol here, only 11.2% alcohol. We have 1969 Colares Tinto from the coast outside of Lisbon in Portugal. The westernmost vines in the entire European winemaking world. These vines are protected by sand dunes. They literally grow down into the bedrock beneath the sand dunes on the Portuguese coast, which has protected them for centuries from all manner of below ground pests. Various small insects like aphids can't climb through sand because it's too heavy. It's also so close to the ocean that there's a lot of wind, which protects them from all above ground pests. So many of these vines, current day, are past 200 years old, unheard of in the world of wine, except for some small island vines in places like the Canary Islands or perhaps the Azores. So when Vitis vinifera vines get this old, they experience an incredible concentration of flavor, and they become insanely ageable. So at 55 years of age, this wine still feels quite young in terms of its incredible savory output. And you'll notice that the color hasn't become too brown altogether. It looks almost like a young Barolo or something like that. Definitely garnety, but not completely falling off. Still a really strong core. What has fallen away from this wine is most of its primary fruit. It's super savory, super umami, a bit of a delicacy. Part of why it's bottled in a 620 milliliter bottle rather than a 750, almost indicating that like something like a sherry, it's a little bit more intense than a table. Now we have 8 different elements, 9 coming next if you opted for your A5 water supplement. They're actually coming right behind us right now, perfect timing. Let's excuse our chefs. Pairing a wine with this many different elements, one incredibly rich and savory wine that you can enjoy as a sipper or with any of our bites. So what are our bites of food, you might ask? Starting on the inside right, we have mugu, that is braised white radish stew with a bit of shortbread. Then we have black trumpet mushroom sopap that Chef Kurt showed you earlier. Moving on to North Korean style kimchi. That is kimchi that focuses a little more on the fermented seafood than pepper flakes. In the center, we have a soy cured tiger prawn with mild lemon. And then on the left, we have myeongranjo. That is salt cured pollock roe with a bit of tiger prawn as well, wrapped in a steamed perilla leaf eggplant. On the top, we have yangnyeom sauce. You can use this to further season your rice, and you can use these gopjanggim to make handles of all of your elements. Enjoy.
Thank you. Wow.
We did get given.
Finally game. That one is like the same like a gopjanggim I have. Like you tried.
Yeah.
You know, remember, right?
The one that your brother brought.
Yep.
It's in East Williamsburg, about 30 minutes away on the L train. It is a bière de coupage, that is to say, beer that is fermented in oak barrels, not unlike a wine. It is infused with peach pits, red currants, and then sumac. Sumac, a Middle Eastern spice that you almost never find in Korean cuisine, made from finely ground gooseberries, so nice light sort of citrusy and spicy notes as well. It's a perfect complement to our Jeju tangerine sorbet to get your palate ready for some sweeter flavors.
Thank you.
La Goutte d'Or, Vouvray Moelleux from François Pinon in the Loire. And then on the left, we have 1993 Vin Moelleux. Now, La Goutte d'Or, one of the top bottlings from the estate. Goutte d'Or is this sort of funny notion that comes from actually French royalty. Louis XIV would declare any vineyard that he thought made some of the best white wines in the country or sweet wines in the country, La Goutte d'Or, or the drop of gold, basically saying that every single drop might as well be worth its weight in gold. It's funny because he did it so much that there are actually vineyards across France with this name, and it's sort of lost its luster over the years, but it's fun that producers still sort of honor this part of the history. In any case, it's really interesting in that they're both fairly old for dessert wines, 35 years old and then 31 years old respectively, but you see a huge amount of difference in terms of texture. Vin Moelleux, which literally means full of marrow, meant to be one of the most textural and complex styles of sweet wine. The 89 feels a great deal funkier, a great deal more phenolically bitter, and a little bit more textured, whereas the 93 feels kind of riper, more solar-powered, and a little bit more what you'd expect from a dessert wine. In any case, both very delicious with sweet things, so we give it to you for fun. Cheers.
Thank you. Wow.
So over here we have our main dessert, banana milk ice cream served over hazelnut chocolate mousse and banana cake at the very bottom. It's garnished with pineapple compote, with red and sorrel, and cocoa tea on top. Please enjoy.
Thank you. Can I finish it, sweet?
Wow. Oh my
Extra treat to wish you a happy Valentine's Day.
Oh,
That's
thanks.
so sweet.
Nice.
Thank
Thank you for coming
you.
to celebrate with us tonight.
Thank you.
This is going to be a chocolate concourant cupcake with a cocoa butter.
Thank you. Oh, that's so sweet.
What are you doing for that?
Woo, Valentine's Day.
I think that's awesome. Beautiful set.
Yeah, it was like compared to. I felt like yours was better with the food.
I appreciated both. I appreciate both. We went to NYC 2 years ago.
They are our biggest competitors.
Well,
It's like
and what it was like years.
That was great.
I remember.
Having